It's not clickbait. It's been brought to my attention that I have been systematically discriminating against caravanners, which is hardly very woke of me, is it? I am therefore unbelievably crushed with regret, as you might imagine. So in this video, I'm going to strive to set the record straight. I'm Cadogan from Auto Expert. Come to you. New cars cheap, but Australia only. Website. Card. So, before we get right into it,
I've noticed a noise in the last video of yours that it watched. Now this one sounds like you have a pet rattlesnake 10 feet behind you that you've pissed off, and it can picture it staring 2 holes into the back of your head while rattling as if its apostrophe S life depended on it. That's what it sounds like.
Coito Rob there. You Americans, you all think the rattlesnake is somehow scary. Come to Shitsville, dude. I'll show you a properly scary snake. Which is exactly what I said the moment I met ex-wife number 2. Apropos of nothing. And this now from frustrated audio engineer Blue the Dog. Kudos, of course, to Mr. and Mrs. Dog for choosing such a great name. We christen thee Bluther, which could be construed a couple of different ways when you think about it. Seems like your sound is off tune. Like maybe an output is low. Noise level sounds high. No, Blue the Dog, that's not it. Not at all. And finally on this, a solution-oriented dude named Doomslayer 4276. Get a good portable mic like the DJI Mark II. Thank you sincerely for your advice, Mr. or Ms. Doomslayer. But I already have a pretty good shotgun mic just up there. DJI Mic 2, which is awesome, would be worse in this case because obviously it's omnidirectional, whereas the Shotty, not so much. The problem here with the audio is that there's this humongous plague of cicadas just outside for tens of kilometres in every direction, right across Sydney. They are properly deafening, and it's been going on for weeks now. We're all a little bit over it, oddly enough. One has to shout just to be heard when outside. Actually, with the door shut, it's actually much attenuated in here. Go figure. And when I edit the video, I can't even hear the cicada background noise because of how freaking loud the cicadas just outside the window are. The little fuckers, they've been feasting on funnel web spiders, which, as you know, rain from the sky twice a day in Sydney, and they also eat those baby 2-headed eastern brown snakes, which there's been a fresh hatch of also lately. Nasty bastards. So the cicadas have become quite toxic, and the heat and humidity has driven them into this, I don't know, flesh-eating frenzy, kind of like ex-wife number 4. Like the way that woman carried on when the mercury nudged 36. Honestly, like, what an endurance event. Anyway, it's summer here in Shitsville. This is very confusing to Americans in particular, and flat earthers, and I know there's a bit of overlap there on the old Venn diagram. Riddle me that. Plus, in my view, this is a free YouTube video, so suck it up. I suppose you could indignantly demand your money back because, excessive background noise, but everyone's such a critic. And now, the main event, my alleged cruelty over the long term to caravanners. Love your channel overall. Great educational stuff delivered with quite humorous sarcasm, which for the most part is great, with the exception of one small part, and that is the pretty much regular bashing of the caravan community. And by the way, am not one, so am not being precious. It comes across to me, at least as a bit cruel to a sizable community of people in this country. Only my opinion, but I personally would like to see it dial back a bit.
Otherwise, fantastic channel. Thanks, John.
Quite right, William. This is a fantastic channel. The best, I would have said. And the Russian hottie bots in the comments concur enthusiastically. Every video, like clockwork. It's almost as if they're only human, isn't it? Also, I am very sorry for reading William's message out in a stupid voice. I'm just shallow like that. No imputation is made whatsoever that William actually sounds anything like that. I have no idea what he sounds like. Not that it's bad if he does, like Australia. He'd fit right in. And I suppose if he ever wants to come out of the caravan in closet, you might just let me know and we'll sort things out quietly, under the radar. Unfortunately, however, it's, apostrophe S, comes across to me that William emojied in an otherwise almost literate statement, if that's a verb. To emoji. And in my code of men's conduct, it's, with an apostrophe, clearly says not to do that, ever. Real men don't emoji. Real men don't do a bunch of things. They don't shop for anything together. They don't get their hair cut together. They don't get building materials together. They don't ride in a convertible together, etc. It's a minefield. Now, where are we? 2 more observations. Any joke or any series of jokes or any satirical observation, if you take it literally, can be construed as offensive or a bash. However, if one really can't tell that me roasting the so-called, quote, caravan community is satire, one might be dead between the ears. Dude, I'm not talking about William here, just an hypothetical hypercritic. An actual bash would be a completely different thing. If you've ever seen one, this kind of thing is not a bash. And also, if I had just $10 for everyone who had ever said, oh, love your work, except for just this one minor thing, $10 per time, well, we'd be doing this video from a giant freaking hot tub with me and 10 cheerleaders, mommies from Norway, inside a matte black Cessna Citation at 40,000 friggin' feet with the front door key to the Playboy mansion hanging proudly around my neck. The only concern in the world for me would be which one of Alborz's remaining Lamborghinis will I get my 12 bodyguards to carjack next? So what in fact is happening here is, from time to time, I try to deliver a whole host of hopefully useful information on an otherwise pretty frickin' dry subject, heavy towing, in a hopefully entertaining way, so that people, like even those who didn't think about anything other than boobies and football while they were at school, assimilate it and, again, hopefully, make slightly less fucked up choices than they otherwise might have out there on the road. Australia's education system, every kid gets at least DUOS medals, dude, for turning up. Boobies and football. And chicks think about boobies and football too, all the friggin' time. Just not in exactly the same way. Secondly, I get it, William, point taken, dude. Too critical, harsh, unkind, anti-caravan, agreed. I therefore apologise sincerely and without reservation for my seemingly harsh treatment of the practice of taking one's rejected bodily fluids on an extended holiday, some would say a pilgrimage, in a purpose-built box held together mainly with pop rivets and Sikaflex. I've been carrying on as if caravan is akin to a mental deficiency, which clearly it's not akin. So kindly allow me to set the record straight if you don't mind. It has been cruel and unusual of me to denigrate this proud nation's fleet of aluminium and MDF effluent touring carriages in quite this harsh way. I actually have nothing but pity, sadness and respect for any humans desperately trapped inside, many of whom typically disempowered wives and helpless children, They've had no voice regarding the torment they endure so stoically, sometimes for weeks or even months on end. Obviously, a box on wheels, inside which one can entertain one's guests from the head of the formal dining table, which is also in the master bedroom, while contemporaneously cooking a meal, sucking on a cold one, and at the same time taking a dump while showering, is a versatile, sociable, efficient, and innovative engineering achievement. Caravanning truly is the cutting edge of human ingenuity and efficiency, provided you actually want to be there and you choose without duress to participate in these and related Versa-slum pilgrimage activities. Caravanning certainly allows you to get a whole lot of things done at once, which in most other contexts would have to be tackled, I guess, sequentially. Taking a dump and showering, for example. Imagine the time one would save over a lifetime taking a dump, showering and cooking while at the same time entertaining one's guests. It would be remarkable, kind of like living for an additional 10 years, I estimate. But try doing this at home or in the office, just once. I think many people would be so critical, so set in their ways on things of this nature. Doubtless, Australians of the future will reflect kind of critically on this period in our history, the age of peak effluent tourer. Future kiddies in future schools will doubtless think about boobies and football while they get AI to write award-winning essays on how advanced the 21st century portable poverty community really was, and how the rest of society just effectively shunned them and treated them as if they were, I don't know, third-class bogans. So, who the hell do I think I am to judge if two or more consenting adults want to drop, I don't know, $100,000 on a new anywhere slum and another lazy 100K or so on a vehicle to tow it, just so they can live the dream and take their effluent to every dingo piss creek on the continent, of which there are many. It's actually a state of mind, like an attitude, kind of like being a Jedi or a Sith, only with a neoprene stubby holder instead of a lightsaber. If a personal choice is taken to suffer stoically in close proximity with one's sewage in this transcontinental way instead of, I don't know, staying in a 5-star resort for a year or so for less money, it would be kind of churlish of me to be overly critical of people in that position. If you identify as a caravaner, so be it, dude. I respect that choice. That's allowed. It's just like all of the other upcoming personal choices which will soon be available in society. Like the writings on the wall, isn't it? Age, race, height, species, mode of existence, dead, alive, or Schrödinger. Who doesn't enjoy the breathtaking majesty of open road caravanning? Seeing, I don't know, 200 otherwise comfortable and perfectly efficient cars trapped in endless limbo behind a single 3.5-ton Porter hovel with its gutless Hilux and shitbox DPF struggling to maintain, 50 k's an hour up even a moderate highway gradient before sprinting majestically up to 120 down the other side of the hill where the overtaking lane is. Repeat for endless hundreds of k's through breathtaking World Heritage listed busted ass cattle scrub. And then seeing a delightful ghetto of the things all parked up, a pop-up enclave of like-minded, effluent-toting pilgrims, the Porter slum community, eyeing off each other's fine acoustically transparent aluminium and plywood chitoirs while the gents just stroke their tobacco-stained beards and compare stupid crocodile tooth hats and their singlet tans, while the ladies in their cellulite frolic in the warm yellow billabong, secretly hoping the hottest one, Narelle, it's always Narelle, hoping that Narelle gets taken quite soon by a rogue salty. What an experience this must be from within. Kind of like visiting Mecca, if Mecca was, full of deadly snakes and had Centrelink. The sense of community. Collectively enjoying the aroma of charred communal salmonella sausages on stale bread, while discussing the relative merits of EGR blanking and DPF deletion, and debating just how weight distribution hitches actually work, despite never attending a single physics class ever. Nobody needs that shit, especially when you're already double majoring in boobies and football, dude. Perhaps the Governor General of Dingo Piss Creek, Andrew St. Pierre White himself, will make an unscheduled formal appearance in his new freak show chariot, the controversial 200 series high ace van, which is more or less the bogan equivalent of the Pope-mobile, when I think about it. Wouldn't that be something? To have your campsite personally blessed by His Excellency ASPW in Satan's high ace. Imagine that. And then finally the long trip home, back to quote-unquote civilization. Holding up the world on the open road once again endlessly, living the dream, playing overtaking lane chicken on every single lane highway possible, minimising the free flow of traffic before somberly parking outside Chateau Fibro, and thereby devaluing every other house in the street as well as your own, making your suburb just ever so slightly more Mogadishu, with little more than dusty plywood and a table in the bedroom that you can also drop a deuce on, maintaining that full tank of commingled effluent which has been fermenting enthusiastically in the outback sun for months now. What an adventure. Well done. And then straight into it, planning the next big trip, counting the sleeps before once again boldly heading out there into the bogan wilderness, the great cultural void, the land beyond Wi-Fi, to hold up the world and cook a cheeky vindaloo in bed while taking a dump and bathing with friends in the club lounge under the stars in the best damn country on earth, located between New Zealand and Somalia.